Hey everyone, this is Sneaky G.
And Sneaky P from SneakyUniverse.com, and today we are bringing you our LA Noire review.
LA Noire follows the story of Cole Phelps as he rises through the ranks of the police department in 1947 Los Angeles. It's a classic noir story that follows actual crimes and cases. So, starting out here, what did you think about the story, P?
You know, for me, there wasn't even really much of a story until kind of the end of the game. Like, I think about it, and it was all told in reverse, which kind of made it a little confusing. And then everything is pieced together at the end, but you're still thinking, well, for the first 17 cases, I had no idea what any of this was about. I mean, obviously, you know, it's going to play into the story, but it just, the way it was told was not very good, in my opinion. It could have been told a whole lot better. So, for me, I'm going to have to give the story a 6 out of a 10.
Yeah, the story isn't a great big epic type of plot, but it is pretty good for what it tries to do. It's interesting because they have newspapers spread throughout certain cases that kind of tell a side story that you really don't think has any purpose until everything kind of comes full circle at the end. I really enjoyed the ending, although it wasn't really necessarily a story up until that point. It was kind of just following Cole's career through the different departments of the police force. So overall, I'm going to have to give the story a 7.5 out of 10.
Moving right along, G, what did you think of the gameplay?
The gameplay is very well done in this game. It's nice seeing a cop story that you actually go around finding clues and conducting interviews and just doing real police work. Also, there are shooting mechanics which they aren't really a highlight of the game like the Grand Theft Autos are from Rockstar, but they do come in and kind of brighten up the gameplay and add in some excitement. They're not perfect by any means, they are kind of stiff, but they do the job well enough to make the gameplay a 9 out of 10 overall for me. What do you think?
Yeah, man, you know, I agree. The movement was definitely a little bit stiff, as well as the aiming and the crosshairs were a little bit stiff as well. But overall, I still feel like the gameplay was fun. It had that same little style that Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption have, obviously in a different setting. They didn't have as many side story things to do. They had side cases, street cases as they're called, but those were not as entertaining as they have been in other series such as Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption. So it's a little bit of a letdown for me that you couldn't really do much outside of the actual story. They had the golden film reels as well, which were absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I doubt if you spent all day looking for those, you would not find two. I honestly don't believe it. So, for me, it was a little bit of a letdown, but it was still fun. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
Alright, so moving along here, next up is the presentation. What'd you think?
The presentation is absolutely amazing. The facial recognition feature is something that has never been done before, and it is truly groundbreaking and amazing. It's spectacular. There's certain times when you will see actors you recognize because it's so unbelievably realistic. It looks like you're just watching them act more than a character in a video game. It's unbelievable. The music was solid too. The guns were alright. The gun noises were just kind of whatever. It wasn't terrible though. And there really isn't all that many explosions in the game, so we can't really go off that. Overall, though, just the fact that the facial recognition feature is as groundbreaking as it is, and all the actors are as good as they are, I'm going to have to give it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, the presentation is all around excellent. The facial recognition hasn't been done nearly on this level before. So I think that's definitely going to be a big innovation thing that brings video games closer to movies and TV shows. Also, the sound was really well done. The music was excellent. The sound effects were pretty good. The voice acting was top-notch, although there were some that were kind of laughable. And something else I want to mention is the black and white feature, which gives it that authentic kind of film noir kind of feeling. And I really liked how the game was broken down in cases instead of the other games where it's just one big open world and you go around getting missions. So you can go back and replay the cases easily and try to master them. So overall, I'm gonna have to give the presentation a 9 out of 10.
Moving right along to replay value, G, what did you think?
You know, the replay value is actually pretty low on this one, I feel like. You don't really feel the need to immediately go back and replay any of the cases, although you may want to go through it maybe once again. And there's also collectibles. You can go around trying to collect all the cars and collecting those film reels and the newspapers and finding all the landmarks and stuff like that. But I don't really feel like those really add that much to the replay value. So you really have to look at the downloadable content on this one for determining the replay value. But as far as the base game goes, I'm going to give it a 6. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree, man. Rockstar's actually usually known for making games that have a very good amount of replay value. This one did not have that, I don't feel like. And like you said, a lot of it's going to come down to downloadable content, which they've already released 2 new cases. And the way the game's set up, I can see them releasing a whole lot more. But the only real reason to go through and play the basic game more than once is for the trophies. Other than that, it's really not great replay value. I'll give it a 5.
Alright, so overall, what are you going to give LA Noire, P?
The weird thing for this game is grading it on what it was versus what my expectations are for it. I had been waiting for a detective game like this to come out since I've been gaming. Like, this was my idea. Like, I think I was even saying it would be awesome if somebody mixed Grand Theft Auto with a detective type series. But I don't think they came through as good as they could have. And that's going to hurt the grade for me because I look at it, there's not really fun side missions like they have in the other ones. You don't have the option to do many other things other than the story. I thought it'd be really cool if, like, you would arrest somebody and then that person either bribes their way out of it, or you can use them as an informant later. Like, I won't arrest you if you give me dirt on this person, or keep an eye out on this. And that would be awesome if that would affect the way the game is played from there on out. Like, sometimes that information the person provides could help you out a lot, and other times you just let a guy go for no reason. I really think that would have added a whole new element to the game, and it really was not there for this game. But I still feel like it's a fun game, and it did bring a lot new to the table. Even though it left a lot on the table, it did bring some new stuff to the table. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
I agree to an extent. I've definitely been waiting for this type of game where you're actually go around finding all these clues and everything like that as a real detective. Some parts were a little bit disappointing, like the story wasn't as great as I was hoping it would be. The gameplay had a few flaws, like the side missions weren't really that well implemented, I don't feel like, because they would pop up in the middle of a case and destroy the pacing of each case. The presentation is absolutely amazing. The replay value's pretty low in this one. But this is still a top-notch game. It's definitely going to be a Game of the Year contender, so I'm going to have to give it a 9 out of 10. Alright, and that will conclude our official review for LA Noire, where Sneaky Universe gives it an 8.5 out of a 10.
Also, check out our website at sneakyuniverse.com, where you can find reviews, walkthroughs for LA Noire, and many other cool things.
And remember, everybody, keep it sneaky.